personally, I am so happy to be joined this morning here in the studio by Denise Greene. Good morning, Denise.
Good morning, Kelly.
It's lovely to welcome you here into the studio on this not so cold day, actually. It's quite warm in here, isn't it?
It's lovely and toasty in here, but I have to say, having arrived a few minutes ago, it's freezing outside.
Yeah, I know. We're still waiting for the warmer weather to greet us, aren't we?
It'll be here soon. Spring is coming.
It is indeed. So it's an absolute pleasure to meet you, Denise. We're going to be talking about your brand new charity. Do you want to introduce it yourself?
Absolutely, yes, please. The Beyond Boundaries Foundation, we achieved charity registration on the 24th of January after a year and a half of hard work, because it's a charity that will ensure that complementary and holistic therapies and practices are available to the vulnerable in our society. We all need that help as part of an integrated approach with mainstream medicine, and we want to make sure that people can access it. So it's something that the trustees and I are really passionate about.
That's amazing. We are going to come on to that because it is so important, and I support your vision with that. But first, let's talk a little bit about you, Denise. People often don't like to talk about themselves, but we're going to a bit so people that are listening know a tiny bit about the voice that's coming out through their speakers. So tell us about you. Do you live locally to Marlow?
Just up the road. I live in Stokenchurch.
And have you lived there a long while? Have you always lived around here in Bucks, or...?
So I've been there 2.5 years. Before that, I was in Twyford for about 14. So always been local, just not literally on the doorstep.
Was there anything specific that drew you to the area? Did you have a network set up already, or did you create that from scratch?
I created that from scratch many years ago, not just in the last 2.5 years, but sort of over multiple. I was a nomad, as in I was a army baby when young. So moved around a lot and then settled in what I call this area about 16, 17 years ago and raised my daughter.
And now you're local to Marlow and set up this wonderful charity.
Yes. So having worked in various different fields and pretty much moved into like the holistic sector, complementary sector some years ago, it's been a real passion. But yes, things happened, life happened, which I'm sure you'll ask me about in a bit, a few years back, and it really caused a realignment for me, and it just feels like I'm where I'm meant to be, and nobody will be getting rid of me. I am home, so to speak.
Oh, that's lovely. So tell us a bit, let's go back a little bit. So you obviously travelled around a lot. Then when you left school, did you have a vision of what you wanted to do at that time? I'm sure at the point you left school, you didn't have a vision you were going to set up your own charity.
Absolutely not. I say that because, interestingly, growing up, it was always either healthcare or travel. It was always about people for me. And completely honest, I used to pass out at the sight of a needle, so it kind of put me off healthcare. And so I went into travel and focused very much on working with people, for people, supporting them. And that was my career, essentially, for 26 years. And it really got me that worldly perspective on different cultures, different understandings, different beliefs, different ways of working, which I was really passionate about. But when I was in Berkshire, lots of things happened, life-changing things, and I moved further and further into the holistic sector. So as well as what I would call a day job at the time, I was also mentoring people with different practices and supporting them on their sort of journey of getting into those complementary and holistic practices. And it really just instilled that passion in me, because I know it can and will make a difference to people.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it? And I'm a strong believer in all the twists and turns and the things that happen to us very much happen to correct us and get us back on our golden path, essentially. I was talking to someone about this at the weekend, and it might not feel great at the time, but the changes come along to recorrect us if we're not listening, I think.
I would say that mine slammed me in the face about 4 years ago, quite literally. And, one way or another, I was going to end up where I am today, put it that way.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. And this charity, we're going to come on to that, but it's going to bring so much, isn't it? But just backtracking a tiny bit. So you worked in travel for a really long time. You ended up dipping into holistic therapies. Was that for yourself? Is that how you ended up getting an interest in it, just in your own life?
So my first interest was when I was quite young, when my father passed away, and it just opened my eyes to different ways of understanding and being open-minded. And then when I was 36, I lost my mum, and that really opened me up to what's going on, who am I, how does it all work, and how do we work as people. And I met a really lovely lady who I consider not only a best friend, but one of my mentors, or my mentor, the only one that gets to tell me off. And the journey began, really. And yes, initially it was for me. It was my own self-connection, personal development, understanding me and how I function, and improving my outlook, on life. But it's kind of contagious. Once you're in it and you believe in it, you want to share it, don't you, to anyone who would like to know. I'm a firm believer, not in, ramming it down people's throats. It's a choice in terms of what we do, how we help ourselves. But I also now just want to make sure that it's available to anybody who does want to access it.
Yeah, so when we're talking about it, you and I very much know and what we're talking about, and I've had my own discovery of different things that have helped. And I think we do get sucked into that place, don't we, where we think one way fits all, we have to do this, that and the other. But there's a wealth of wonderful things out there that can help us, that are available, that people just simply don't know about, which is why I'm really passionate. And I've shared it before about doing this show, having people like you here with me, because then other people that are listening get to discover the wonderful things that are available. And you're pulling that all together under this umbrella, aren't you, as such, as the charity. And what was the first sort of holistic thing that you experienced that you felt benefit yourself?
I learned to ground myself, to really sort of put my roots down, focus my intention for the day, and bring in the positives into every morning and my outlook. And following that was meditation, quietening my mind, because I am one of those people who used to have a tornado running around in my head every day, trying to juggle 101 things in life. So grounding and meditation, I would say, would be the very first.
Yeah, it's lovely for me because obviously I'm really passionate about that, and I have different people in talk about their passions, which all link together. And there are so many people out there that know these simple steps are just fundamental to freedom, essentially, aren't they? Absolutely fundamental. But we think that it needs to be really difficult to access these things. But just as you've said there, just grounding and stopping and listening.
And there are various different ways you can ground yourself. It like you said earlier, it's not one size fits all. We choose, or we try different ones. We find the way that works for us, and bringing that into a daily lifestyle and a daily routine. What we're actually just doing is connecting with ourselves and empowering ourselves to look at life positively, whatever shape and form that takes for us.
I know. I think the hard thing is that I don't know about you, Denise, but along when you do this self-discovery, you obviously then become stronger and more confident in yourself. And then sadly things fall away, certain things, jobs, you might need to move, or, friendships and people and different things. And it's all part of it, but then you do have to resurface and sit with pain again, don't you? So it doesn't take you to this all floaty, all wonderful thing. I mean, I'm sure it's been, and you're going to share with us, it's been a real struggle for you to get this charity off the ground, hasn't it?
So, yes, what I would say is I am very fortunate because I had these practices in what I would call my toolkit, breathwork and other bits and pieces in my toolkit. And 4 years ago, when we were in the pandemic, the lifestyle I knew had to slip away. It wasn't financial, it was health. And over the period of a couple of years, I accumulated a number of health conditions, which meant I really had to stop, think, and refocus my life. I had been told, I would not be able to function from a work perspective for more than a few hours a week. I was heading for immobility. There was a wheelchair, etc., moving forward. And, it's about deciding that rather than dwelling on the woe is me, I wanted to say, okay, what is this reshape for? I really had to go within, connect, understand what it might be about, if that makes sense. So it was a good couple of years of exploring who I'm supposed to be now, who I am now, and what those strengths are within me. And I kept feeling that I'm very lucky. What I have to say is I'm very lucky. I have friends who are already working within the complementary health sector. So I've had access in a very difficult time in my life to things like reflexology and other therapies that have really supported me in my relief of pain, my rehabilitation. And I was sat in Marlow in a cafe with a friend a year and a half ago who said, what is it you really want to do moving forward? And I said, I want to help people. I want to make this accessible. I want other people to understand that when the you-know-what hits the fan, there are things available to us that we can use, that we can apply to pick ourselves back up again and to keep going. It might be reshaped, but it's a different way, it's a different approach. Great. But life is for living, and I really believe that. And they turned around and they went, sounds like you should be running a charity. And I laughed.
And here we are today. And I think it'd be nice. We're going to play one of your songs shortly, but if it's okay, I think we'll come back to that. What is your why? Because that's a hugely important question that I think everybody at points in their life needs to check in with. Yeah. What is our why? Why are we here? Because when you're coming from that place, the magic happens, and you're going to share that with us.
Finding your purpose.
Exactly. So the first song that you've chosen, Denise, that we're going to play, is there a reason for it? Something inside so strong? I think I feel why. But would you like to share anything?
Yes. I mean, I have certain songs. It might not be that all the lyrics fit to my journey, but I like them, and they make me feel stronger and more focused. And when you have bad news, when you have sad news, when you have these different things that face you, you need to link to that music. I believe music therapy is amazing in whatever shape or form it takes. And it's certain songs that remind me of just how strong we are as individuals. If we tap into that inner strength, that we can get back on track and we can live our best lives.
Denise is with me, and if you've just tuned in, we've been having a wonderful conversation. You can listen again if you've missed it, studio@marlowfm.co.uk, and just select listen again. Good morning, Marlow, and today's date, which is the 3rd of February. Denise, good morning.
Good morning, Kelly.
We were talking about you, about your story, essentially, and we came on nicely before that track to your why.
Yes.
Now, our why is very important, isn't it? I think for me, my understanding of it, and correct me if yours is different when you share, but when we're finding our why, it is that purpose. It's that true sense of meaning. When you're flowing, when it doesn't really feel like work. Of course, there's an element of work and hard work and tiredness in it, but it comes from somewhere so deep inside, so strong, like that song, that there's just such a drive to do it anyway.
Yes. Purpose goes beyond what I would say a job, that sustains you. It's something that drives you and allows you to bring that passion, almost that you never realised you had, into your everyday. A client of mine, and a very wise gentleman, has said to me that his mantra, if you like, is work to live, okay? And if you love what you do, you will do what you love for as long as you need to. And I feel that's so true. If you love it, there isn't that Monday morning blues as we get up and we go off and start our week. It's almost, what has this week got in store for me? And I think that's really true when we find our passion. We're not having to find resources that we don't have to keep us going and to keep us driven on it, if that makes sense.
That is so true. I'm really finding that about here for me, actually. I just love being here and talking to and being able to meet people like you and give people that space to share their
passion.
Why. Yeah, their passion. So tell us how you discovered your why. I mean, we always have it inside us. We know, don't we? But we ignore. So tell me when you stopped ignoring yourself.
I stopped ignoring myself when I was 16. When life had been throwing me speed bumps, as I call them, and I had been struggling a little bit with who I am. And it was when I lost my dad. And as I said to you earlier, it was almost an eye-opener for me. It's like, do what you feel you want to. Always be authentic, but understand that we're all here for that purpose. And it was an eye-opener in a way that I just accepted that I might not be the same as everybody else, and that was okay, and that I wanted to explore that person and live as that person. And it started my interest in terms of how I could best bring me out and to the fore.
Which is nice. And how so I'm assuming something like this for you would have started off small. You didn't just wake up the next day with a completely transformed life. No. You would have just started doing small things that you love.
Just being open, just, not following, how can I put it? Not following the norm, not just doing because I was told that's what I had to do, but really just believing and listening to my own intuition on things. But when it really sprang forward was about 20 years later, when I was 36. Then it was very much an investment of time and energy and focus and really needing to connect with myself.
And that was, obviously you shared earlier around the grief of your mum. So 2 real prominent times in your life there, both, not forcing you, but really kind of saying, come on now, connect to what's happening.
Yes, when you lose people you love, it always makes you think, doesn't it? It always makes you question about the why. Why are we here? What's our purpose? What are we meant to be doing? And my mum was my best friend. We were very, very close. So losing her at 36 was a real heartbreak time. My daughter was just 4 at the time. And I struggled with it for a little while, but then I felt so grateful that actually my daughter, who's now 18, still remembers that time with my mum. So rather than looking back, feeling disappointed, I'm grateful that she knew her. But it was really that, how do I move forward? How, when someone who's been so big in my life is no longer with me, how can I bring her into my everyday, and hear her voice in my head saying, get on with it, go and do this, get up, keep going, all those sort of supportive things that people will say to us. How can I tap into that? And that was when the real explore started, because when I ground myself or when I meditate, the voices of wisdom, sometimes it's just your parent or your loved one that's passed over going, remember you can do this, remember that. The things that come through remind us and they bring us closer to those that we've lost. And that's a really precious gift, I find.
I agree with you. And I think as well, when you have those voices come, because some people struggle to have that support from people. I mean, you're really lucky, aren't you, to have had that real close relationship with your mum.
Yeah.
And I think for people out there, we've all got someone, haven't we, that will be your supporter, whatever that looks like. And I think the more you connect with that why, you end up hearing more of those voices around you. Like, yes. I imagine on this charity journey, which we're going to share a bit later, but the more you're opening up to what you really love and this purpose, those voices are coming now around you saying, come on, you can do this, we've got you. And it's bringing people together and really putting the energy behind this passion.
Absolutely. And whether it's, through losing someone, you still hear them, or whether it's people that are here, it brings what I call your own people, your tribe, close to you, like-minded people. And I know we're talking about the charity later, but in terms of that community, that tribe, that's essential for everyone in life. We need people, whether we want to, really admit it or not. We all need people. That's what we're here for, to connect and to support each other and lift each other up. So having that on the journey, and through my personal journey in the last few years, has been, how can I put it, unquantifiable. It's that precious thing that without that, I wouldn't be sitting here smiling at you this morning.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it? And I just completely agree with what you're saying. I mean, community, and this is a community station, and it's a really supportive place. I really love being here. And I think when you've got the backing of people around you that really support, and you're not against people, you're with people, there's so much strength in that. And I was so lucky this weekend to go down to Glastonbury with 8 other women. Wow. It was very spiritual, holistic led weekend. But I didn't know any of those women a couple of years ago, and it was such a support, because we need people. We do. Connection. It's fundamental to our growth and stability and peace. We need that true, wholesome connection.
It's what life is about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why are we all here? To connect, to learn, to get to know each other, and to find our tribe. You said you didn't know them a couple of years ago, but now you'll know them for some time to come. We find people when they're meant to come into our lives. And it's been like that for me in the last few years. All these different people that have, how can I put it, come forward, supported me in my own health journey, and with the charity and with what I'm doing. You don't ask when someone's passionate and they're meant to be within that tribe. They just are there, and you feel that instant connection. And I do feel very fortunate for that, and that's what I'd love to help other people achieve as well.
I agree. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to supporting and getting involved with your charity anyway, because I think it's just amazing to bring people together like this. So, Denise, quick question on your why and your passion and everything. Can you share, for anyone that doesn't already know, but what did this look like for you? What work did you need to step into? Obviously, being connected to people, and travel brought that to you in some aspects, didn't it? Because you've taken the bits that were really important to you from your work,
yes,
and brought it forward. But before setting up the charity, because we're going to fully focus on that in the second hour, but just share a little bit about what your work holistically looks like, if that's okay, before the charity was born.
Before the charity was born, I I used various different therapies. So I mentor people and I teach them all of the different grounding and meditation and mindfulness techniques, etc. But I help them take time to stop and look back over their lives and understand where they hit a wall, where they've had trauma that they potentially haven't processed. We go through things and we almost compartmentalize it and hold on to it, and that's not healthy. So working through things that we've been through in life, and I'll use myself as an example, my mum passing, and looking back at all the positive things, and then letting go of anything that doesn't serve me, any anger around the fact that she'd gone, that sort of energy and that emotion that doesn't help us move forward in life positively. And it can be through various different things. I teach people ways of releasing that, and everyone's different. So I can't just say there's one size fits all, but whether it's, journaling, whether it's guided meditations that work for them, energy healing. I do energy healing. I'm a big advocate for crystals and all that sort of thing. But really taking time to read some books as well. There are certain authors, not sure if I'm allowed to mention them, but there are certain authors that I'm a big supporter of that help people really connect. I'm allowed?
Yes.
For example, I'm a real lover of Eckhart Tolle and The Power of Now. I do believe that there is a purpose as well for reading The Secret. Some people think, what's all this about, or it's not very British the way it's written and that sort of thing. But it doesn't matter that if you read a book and there's only 6 things that resonate with you or jump out and become useful, that's 6 things that you didn't have as a mindset toolkit before you read it. And I go through that with my clients and see what really stands out to them and help them realize that moving forward, when a tricky situation comes up, they'll approach it differently. They will use their breath work. They'll take a breath. I'm such a big advocate for breathing. I live with chronic pain and chronic fatigue now. And if I didn't have that ability to literally breathe, and I don't mean inhale and exhale, as you know, but use that breath work to calm my nervous system, to calm my muscles and my body, I wouldn't be as functional as I am now. So I really believe that teaching that to people has put them in a much better place to be not emotion free, but heavy emotion free, and have that resource moving forward for when life does send us speed bumps. Because like you said earlier, this isn't about floating on clouds and being happy and nothing ever bothers us. Of course it does. That's what we're here for. That is life. But how we handle it and how we manage those situations can be a learned response.
I know, and I think as well, there's so many things as you're talking that are coming up to me, and I think we're going to have to play a track up to the news shortly, but we're going to come back to that, because I think what you're sharing here is so important for us to, and you'll be pleased to know actually at 11:11 I always do a mindful minute.
Okay, good.
So we will get to really connect with our breathing, because we're breathing all the time, aren't we?
Yes.
But it's the power of that. We've been in the studio this morning discussing what led Denise to where she is today, and if you missed the first half of the show, you can listen again at marlowfm.co.uk and just select listen again. Good morning, Marlow, and today's date. If you're tuning in now, we are about to talk about the charity and all the wonderful things that are going to be born out of this charity with Denise. But before that, we've got our mindful minute coming up in 2 minutes, but not forgetting the tracks that we've had on, the music that's been played. So we just had Keep Your Head Up, Ben Howard, which was one of Denise's choices. And before that, we had I Am Woman, didn't we, Denise? So tell us why, briefly, you chose that track, and then we're going to go into a bit more of the story.
Because 4 years ago, I had first diagnosis, second diagnosis, third, and I accumulated multiple things: arthritis, fibro, chronic pain, chronic fatigue, functional neurological disorder, and a few more, all as a result of falling ill during the pandemic. Not political, won't go into any of that, but it became a time where life got turned upside down. And as I started picking myself up, I am woman, hear me roar, I am invincible. Those lyrics, as I said to you earlier, I like sound healing. So listening to a song that says that sort of thing just helped me really connect with my inner strength and stay focused and work hard to get back on track.
Which is important. And one way that we can get there, as both you and I definitely agree, is meditation.
100%.
Pausing. And it's coming up to 11:11. So we're going to do that now. We're going to take a minute together here in the studio. And for those of you that are listening, if you're not driving in the car, feel free to close down your eyes. And we're just going to take a little pause here just to connect with our breathing. The breath comes and goes all the time. Often we don't notice it. So bring your awareness to your breath. Just notice where you feel that in your body. Just notice how your body feels on the seat that you're connected to. Just feel your feet planted on the ground. That sense of being held and supported. And just remembering wherever you are today, whatever's going on for you, there's always a part of you that's okay. So as you notice your next breath, just see if you can access a point in your body where you feel okay. Just breathing into that place. As you exhale, just releasing anything that feels possible. And just being exactly where you are, not trying to change anything. And just allow the question to rise if you can. Just what is your why? As you tune in to us today. Just tune into yourself. What is your why? And just expanding your awareness to the space around you now, connecting with your senses. Just aware of what you can hear. Allowing the sounds to come to you. Keeping your eyes closed as we move into the second part of this morning's slot here at Marlow FM, and welcoming Denise back with me to talk about Beyond Boundaries Foundation. Denise, let's talk about that, because you obviously had the experience, you know, you've got these songs, the music that you connect to, you've got access to lots of therapies and healing, and it's led you to create this charity.
Yes.
And this is now live.
It is. I mentioned earlier, but I'll say it again. 24th of January, we had confirmation that we had achieved charity registration status.
Congratulations.
And thank you. Some people ask me, you know, why it took so long. It took us a year and a half back and forth. And for good reason, a lot of the time. You know, if you are saying you want to work as a charity, then it has to be charitable purpose, you know, and that has to be really clearly managed, and we all can understand why. But I have to say, when I've been asked how difficult or how stressful, I'd say it's worse than divorce, and I have been through that. It's worse than selling a house and buying one, because the timelines and the number of policies and the constitution and the way things are worded, for very good reason, you have to be absolutely crystal clear. So if anybody really wants to know the ins and outs, we are now on the charity register under the Charity Commission, charity number 1211857. You can see the constitution, who the trustees are, because there are 7 who govern me, and make sure that what we're doing is all above, you know, it is all working within our constitution and the guidelines of what constitutes charitable purpose. So it's been a huge, steep learning curve, but one that's obviously very worthwhile, because we are now able to move forward.
Which is brilliant, because your perseverance has paid off and your passion. And I do believe in timing. I think, you know, this is obviously your time. You know, last year it might not have been the right time for you, but now it 100% is. And your charity that you set up, Beyond Boundaries Foundation, it's about holistic and complementary therapies. You're going to have lots of people under this that are going to be providing different things. And can I just ask you, why do you personally believe, you know, thinking about your own experience, why the holistic and complementary therapies can deliver a really good outcome alongside, you know, medicines? Obviously there's a place for doctors and hospitals, and they're fantastic. 100%. You know, there's a lot there, but there are other things available. So share a little bit about that with us, Denise.
So I firmly believe that in order to achieve your best physical health, you have to also address not just the physical, but the mental and the emotional health as well. I am a huge advocate for the integrated approach. I am my own best case study. I do see doctors, you know, I use mainstream medicine, but that takes you so far. And to use other therapies to help you stay mentally focused, mentally well, and emotionally well when you are dealing with different challenges in life. It doesn't always have to be health, it can be grief, it can be stress at work, it can be anything that we face. If you look after the whole you, hence holistic, the whole you, and not just the pharmaceutical side of you, you are building a much stronger, sustainable you, if that makes sense. Because our emotions come into everything we do in life. Our mental health is impacted by everything we do in life. Even if it's that we won or lost a tennis match, we still get involved mentally and emotionally, don't we? So why wouldn't we apply that to everything that we do?
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I have let myself down so many times where I've ignored what I know and shut down, the emotional side, which impacts on so much. And we have to be aware of it and have a space to move through, because I think so often we're pushing things away all the time. We need to welcome them in and work with them. We're not working against. It's like when you hear people saying, oh, I'm, battling against this or fighting against that. The start of that sentence speaks volumes, the fight and the battle. And
I'm not sitting here as someone who can say that I don't get it wrong. Of course I do. And there are lessons for all of us. I mean, I will put my hands up and say my two biggest challenges in life would be I'm really not good at asking for help. And I have been told off by family members in the past and friends for not asking for help. It's still my biggest obstacle, but obviously it's different if you're doing it for other people as a charity. And patience. And why did it take 1.5 years? Because boy, have I had to be patient. So when you empower yourself to take a breath and actually be patient and persistent and keep going, good things come from it. So I am, as I say, I'm not saying that I don't need to use these practices more at times, and I don't trip myself up, but knowing what they are, and then when you realize being able to apply them gives you that strength that you thought you didn't have.
Yeah, 100%. And you shared as well how this has helped you on your own journey with the difficulties that you faced over the past 4 years.
Yes.
And the strength you've needed to access. Of course, you're open to speaking to medical professionals, but if it wasn't for the holistic side, you'd be living a very different life right now, I imagine.
Yes. I would... connecting with that inner strength and that determination, you can't get that from the pills that you pop. And again, I'm an advocate for that. There is, and I take medication, don't get me wrong. But having that strength to say, no, I'm going to keep going, or, X number of cognitive function hours in a week is not enough for me. I'm greedy. I need to be able to do more than that. Keep going. How can you do that? That's not something that you'll get it, in a packet. And doctors and the medical profession do an amazing job. But, in this country, they are at their peak. That there is, the resources are there, but they cannot do all of this for us.
Yeah.
Okay. And if they're at capacity, that's what I was trying to think of, then why can't we help ourselves and find different ways to make what they're doing really count? So work with them, and as I said earlier, integrate that approach. So you're helping me with certain medications and things like that. Let me do the other bits. Let me focus on my emotional and, that how things impact me mentally, so that what you're doing actually has the most impact it can. Does that make sense?
I think it's really exciting to hear, because there's a huge movement at the moment of people really moving into this space where,
Yes.
Holistic approach and other things that we all need. It's not even a case of, it's one versus the other. We need these things in our lives to be able to function. And also the medical profession, I imagine, are going to have a lighter load with support, because they're under a lot of pressure as well. And there is a lot of things that can be supporting this, and I know people that work, with hormones and the specialist areas, and the holistic involvement in that is huge, and it's fundamental for us to understand ourselves, because we're not all the same. I was listening to, I can't pronounce his name, but Dr. Chatterjee, have you heard him?
Yes.
I've heard of him. Listening to his book the other day, and he's a doctor, and he was talking about how, some people eat meat, they need meat. Some people need to be vegan. Some people eat dairy, they need that. Others don't. We all need different things. So it's about finding what's right for us. And I imagine under your charity, you're going to have an umbrella of different people, and it'd be a nice time for you to tell us how this looks. So remind us of the charity name and the website, so people, if they're listening, they can have a quick look while we're talking now, or at their leisure.
So the charity is the Beyond Boundaries Foundation, because we really want to help people reach beyond the boundaries that society puts onto them, and that they also put onto themselves. The website is www.beyondboundariesfoundation.org.
Brilliant. And when people arrive at this website and they're looking for support, tell us a bit about what this looks like, Denise. What's your vision? How's it unfolding?
So the website explains what we offer. The website offers opportunities for individuals and local businesses to support the work we're doing. It explains the various different events or talks, workshops that we would like to be able to deliver to the charity beneficiaries, and who we consider they might be. So who we're looking to help, whether it's a local hospice, whether it's another charity, whether it's a Young Offenders Institute, or individuals. We've got various different people that we would like to help, and it's very much who is considered a beneficiary. We have an eligibility policy, so that it's very clearly defined as to who would be able to gain access to things on a free basis. But also on the website, it's very clear how people can support us. So as individuals, what we're doing by building a community of holistic and complementary health practitioners, we are building an online resource hub. And within that, we're going to address the various concerns that people face in their life, such as grief, stress, pain, mobility, and much, much more, menopause, men's health, and so on. And if people are listening, if they go to that website and they work within the complementary sector and they'd like to get involved in what we're doing and support us with some content for that resource hub, that would be fabulous. There is a collaborate page on the website that they can go to and send their information in to us. But also if individuals in the local community would like to sign up for access to the Buzz Hub to support us for a nominal amount, they can sponsor us on a monthly basis. And that goes into our work, delivering not just the resource hub to people, but events, talks, workshops, etc., to the recognised beneficiaries.
Which is brilliant. I've just pulled the website up now while we're talking, which is beautiful. It's got a lovely butterfly on there, which symbolises growth and transformation, doesn't it?
Where do you think that logo came from?
Which is lovely. And it says there, start your journey. So anyone that's curious, that's listening, do check out the website, because there are lots of things. You share a bit about your story. You've got the trustees on there, like you say, and there's going to be this hub of therapists that can come together and form this community to provide this support to other people.
We are building the Buzz Hub, as we call it, Buzz around health and well-being, at the moment. So if there are people that would like to get involved, that they work in that sector, I really would love to hear from them. Whether you're a yoga instructor, Pilates, whether you're a strength trainer or a meditation teacher, mindfulness. We have a whole focus on psychoeducation and anxiety management. We're also looking for people who are reflexologists and those that work in animal-assisted therapy. Those are a lot of the main therapies that we'll be using, and breathwork, if there are any breathwork practitioners out there. So if anyone is listening that works in those various practices and therapies, please take a look at the website and get in touch with us, because we need your help to really make sure that the work of the charity can happen.
And it will. I'm sure you'll have a wealth of support. We're going to play next by Rachel Platten. Didn't want to pronounce her name wrong. Fight song. Tell us why this song, Denise. It feels forceful.
It is forceful. When you are dealt blow after blow in life, and this next label are given to you, you can go one of two ways. And I chose to fight, and I chose to find a way to get back on track and really live my life. And all I will say is that this song was on repeat on many an occasion.
I've had with me the lovely Denise Greene this morning. And she's still with me. We've still got half an hour left of the show, a couple more tracks to squeeze in. But we have been talking about Denise, about her journey, her purpose, her why, and the wonderful charity that she has set up. If you've just tuned in, beyondboundariesfoundation.org is the website, so you can have a look there and recap on all of the things that Denise has shared. And if you have just tuned in, there is the listen again option at marlowfm.co.uk as well. Denise.
Yes, thank you for having me today.
You're still
Kelly.
with me. I haven't scared you off yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. We did have a little time out at 11:11, didn't we?
Yes, very useful moment to catch your breath.
Yes, so let's talk a bit more about the foundation. And we've shared the vision so people can recap that if they need to. But to get the foundation to where you want it to be, I imagine it needs help and support from those locally, as you shared, so we can share that far and wide and hope people, I know I am personally, when I have got January out of the way, I am going to help.
I hate to tell you it's February, no excuses.
I know. So I'm going to definitely share a video, but for anyone that's listening, that's the sort of thing that you're looking for, isn't it? For the Buzz Hub, is videos, tips, things that people can share, just give a bit of their time back to the community so that people are struggling can log in and they can find things that are going to help them. And it's also categorized, isn't it? So you've got here what you do, and it shares about, what you do. Don't just exist, choose to live, which is a wonderful statement, which we all have choices, don't we?
Life is about choices.
Exactly.
Everything we do, choosing to come here this morning, choosing to smile at you right now.
Yes.
It's choice, isn't it?
It is, and it'll be wonderful for people to get involved, and businesses, because you need that support. And I think, you're probably looking for people to sponsor and get involved with and do what they can. So if that's you, if you think you can help Denise with this, please do check out the website. All her contact details are on there. Denise, have you got anything you want to add to that?
Yes. So when it comes to sponsorship, I believe in ensuring that this charity will be sustainable. And as we know, for employers at the moment, there is a huge call, there is a huge interest in investing in their employees and their health and well-being, as well as supporting, for social responsibility initiatives, the local community. And so what we are doing as part of our fundraising is that if an employer would like to sponsor us, we can also support them. They can gain access to the resource hub. They can have us in to do, say, a workshop on anxiety in the workplace. Because did you know, Kelly, that on average, employees with anxiety, whether diagnosed or not, are 57.4 days less productive a year in the workplace. So having a charity in to help run a workshop to support those employees not only helps the employer, but it helps us empower the charity to deliver that work to other people and resources. So it's very much a pay it forward, but in a way that will support employees as well. It's not just simple sponsorship or donation, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, I'm hugely passionate about, I lived with anxiety for a very long time, and you can have people that are present and that are struggling. And I think that's the main thing here, is helping the people, isn't it? People need to feel supported with what they're going through. And there are so many wonderful things out there now, and people just don't know. I mean, they just don't know. I keep speaking to people that are doing just marvellous work, and we just are not aware. We need to be more aware.
How many people, what percentage of people in a workplace do you think are impacted by menopause?
Oh, I would say, well, it depends. Well, with the men as well, because
100%.
Yeah, so everyone's
because whether
affected.
you're living through it or not, you're sitting next to somebody, at work that might be, etc. And there's ways that we can support everybody affected by menopause. In other words, the whole workforce at one point or another in their lives will be affected by it. And so there are different things that we can support people with, an understanding of what it is, different practices, etc. I'm actually working on putting together a workshop for a business that is interested in becoming a sponsor of the charity and delivering that for them. So that's just one of the many things that we can help with. And I believe that it supports employers, as I said, not just in looking after their employees, but paying it forward to the wider community and ensuring that it's charitable as well.
Yeah, I think so. Because it's really important that all of us have access to that place inside where we can be free to make these choices. Because I think is what happens a lot with people is they just simply don't feel the things they want to do are possible. So by having resources to, all the wonderful things that you're putting together here, it's great that people can just tap into that and have a better understanding and really connect and support their own dreams and vision.
What do we have at work? We have stress, don't we? In whatever shape or form. And some of the lovely reflexologists are going to put little videos together, pressure points on your own hands that you can press to help with stress. Did we know they were there? Perhaps not. But if you're about to go and do a presentation or go on the local radio, you can use these pressure points to help relieve that stress.
Yeah.
So there's so many different things in life. And it's just, knowledge is power, isn't it?
It is, and we have to connect with those dreams. So I'm going to play another track now. I Have a Dream, ABBA. Why did you choose this track, Denise?
Because I have a dream. I have a dream for the charity to gain the sponsorship, the support, etc. that it needs so that we can grow the impact that we can have. This is not about one person. It may be a vision that I had, but it's not me doing the doing. And I have a dream that so many people will want to come on, make a difference, pay it forward, so that one day everybody can gain this support. It can be national.
Her story as well, but she couldn't have done it alone.
Absolutely not.
And there are some important people that have been with you along the journey, because we touched on earlier, didn't we, Denise, that it's so important to ask for help, but many of us don't want to.
Yes.
I think everybody listening will probably be guilty of not asking for help when they could have possibly needed it. Why, in your personal opinion, do you think you've struggled asking for help in the past?
I would say it was my upbringing, having to stand on my own 2 feet at a very young age. You just get into a mindset of, doing it yourself, doing it on your own. And I would say certainly the last year and a half has really taught me the power of people.
There is a lot of power in there, but sometimes we just don't let it in, do we? We kind of resist. I've done the same. I often hold back asking for help a lot of the time, just because I think it has shown weakness, or I feel safer.
Because we're trained to think that it shows weakness as well.
Yeah.
I think, it's still, when it's your own life, it's very difficult to allow people to see that you're struggling. We don't want people to think that. We want them to see us as strong people. But when you're coming and you're building something that is about the many, it's so heartening for me to see how many people are instantly interested, keen, committed to being a part of that. I mean, over the last year and a half, I keep saying, but it seems like such a long time, and yet it's flown by in many ways. I've been really lucky because not only are there now 7 amazing trustees, all of whom come from different parts of the work environment and have different skill sets that they are bringing into the governance of the charity. But also I've met so many different people from the complementary and holistic community that want to be a part of this work. And whether it's a 3-minute video on, the resource hub, or whether it's that they want to really work with us as we move forward and deliver this support in person, they want to be a part of it. I've had people who are videographers and website designers give their time freely because they really believe in the purpose. There is no way that I could have done what I have done in the last year and a half alone. People that understand grant applications, that light bulb moment, the person that will always be responsible for saying, you should fund a charity, and helping me understand that I could. Without all of those people, the charity would not be registered and we wouldn't be where we are today.
Oh, so a big thank you to all your...
Power of many.
I think that's the thing. We can't do it alone. And actually, when we do things together, it's often so much stronger and holds much more value. But I don't know about you, but I see this particularly in young people. I've got 2 children, but a lot of people don't want to share or ask for help because they fear sharing. Everybody wants to be the best at something or the top of their game, but there is room for everyone. But when you're in that mindset of thinking, oh, I need to be the best, there's only one platform for this thing, it kind of puts up that fight or flight response, and then we start shrinking from who we are, and we kind of lose that why and that purpose altogether, I think.
Yeah, modern day, you're never off, are you? Social media is out there, comparisons are out there, looking at other people. They're not living your life. They don't know what you've been through. And I'm a huge advocate for being authentic. Be yourself, be openly yourself with people. The right people that are meant to be in your tribe will be a part of your life. And it's okay that not everybody is. But if you are happy with who you are, that can be contagious in a good way. It's infectious. Do you know what I mean? It sort of attracts similar and like-minded people to you. So if you're struggling or you can't get something, I mean, one of the trustees has a head for finance. I absolutely don't. I know that's not my skill set. So when it came to putting the forecast budget together, I was so grateful. I had that person that could really give me that focus. And it really matters, knowing what to ask for, when to ask, and that it's okay to ask makes us more authentic, and it makes us stronger. It makes people see us as approachable. And I think that's a really strong message.
I think strength is hugely important, though, even watching your journey over the year and a half that you've shared with us here today. So, I mean, there might be people out there listening that might be inspired that they want to set up their own charity, and they might have a passion for something that they've wanted to do for a really long time. And it is possible if you can ask for help and go through the steps and through the motions. But it's about tapping into that. Why do you need to do something? Money is a huge focus for many people, and fundamentally, obviously, we do need money. We know that to certain extents, but when money becomes the key focus, you lose the passion, don't you, completely?
Absolutely. And this is a passion. This is not something that is, it's not about money per se. It's about the power of more than one. If we all come together, we can make a real difference. I could continue working individually with clients, but what I kept feeling frustrated about was there's a certain number of people in our community, in our society, that can access it. There are so many people that just don't have the means or the ability to gain access to this support. So by everybody working together as a community, we can actually make that happen. And how amazing would that be that, even just a few people's lives are improved. Yeah. And so you have to lose the ego and you have to say, help, I can't do this bit. Who's good at that? I'm not a website designer, put it that way. But there's a beautiful website there. There's a reason for that.
Yeah, and there are people out there that can't afford this kind of thing, and that's where this is beautiful as well, because it's access for people that, you know, need these things and can just click on something really small and really sort of life-changing that can make a difference.
Yep. The shortest video will be 3 minutes on the Resource Hub. The you know, a breathwork practice that you can do that in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
You can do it in less if you just literally learn how to really take that deep breath and hold it and remove the anxiety as you breathe out. It can pay dividends in your own life. And the beauty of so many of these things is nobody needs to know you're doing it. You know, breathwork can be done privately. Nobody needs to see you, or even just grounding yourself. Some of it is invisible, if that makes sense. So, and it makes it portable. Once you know these little simple practices that you can do, I'm not talking about the beauty of yoga and Pilates as well, things like that we're doing, but some of just the go-tos. We are going to have a Buzz in 3 section on that Resource Hub. So under 3 minutes, things that you can do to help you with the challenges in every day.
Oh, I know. I share with people that I work with just 1 minute. I mean, breathing, nasal breathing alone, for anyone that's listening that feels worried, just closing your mouth and breathing through your nose, you can almost reduce the amount of breaths per minute in half. And it just really regulates and slows down your nervous system. And
your
some
heart
people,
rate,
just don't even know these things.
Brings your body back to a sense of calm.
Yeah. And even how to breathe. Working with children is a fascinating thing, because if you ask someone, even adults, oh, can you take a deep breath? The amount of people that will draw their stomach in and hold everything in when you're breathing in, and that's reverse breathing. So there in itself is causing people to have the adverse effect that we want. So having access to so much more things like this, where they can just see tiny changes that are going to really make a difference to their lives, I think is wonderful.
And certainly for the online side of things, we want to make things visual. How can you teach, you know, how to breathe and just talk someone through it? So it is video, as you mentioned earlier. The majority of the stuff that will be the Resource Hub will be videos, because the people can demonstrate and talk people through it as they're learning. And then they can repeat that themselves without needing to log in each time. But then we've also got a relaxation bit. So go on and do the yoga and the breath work with that. And, you know, see somebody else lying on the floor and don't feel bad about it. Yeah. All these different things. But yeah.
Well, it sounds amazing. And thank you so much for coming in to talk to me today here at Marlow FM. And if anyone has missed the conversation, as I said earlier in the show, you can go back and listen again, marlowfm.co.uk. After me, stay tuned in. We have got Lizzie in the studio with the Eclectic Light Show. She's got a fabulous guest in with her today, Rebecca, and she'll be bringing you loads of great music, so stay with her till 2 o'clock. But before we go, Denise, because we're going to be playing out with True Colours, Eva Cassidy. So we've got a couple of minutes left before we play that track, but tell us why that track and leave us with your lasting message for our listeners today.
So I mentioned earlier that I'm a huge advocate for living authentically. And when you are genuine, when you are the real you, then you attract the right people to you. And if you let that authenticity shine, in other words, your true colours, then things flow as they are supposed to. Things fall into place. And therefore, I have chosen to live and use my true colours in this purpose.
Which is lovely. Thank you, Denise, for coming in. I hope that people get in touch with you and you get the support you need. I personally know I'll be supporting your vision.
Thank you, Kelly.
And yeah, I can't wait to see where it goes. We'll have you back in later in the year to see the light.
How it all unfolds.
Yes, exciting, isn't it?
Thank you.
You're welcome. So thank you everyone for listening. I'm back with you on Wednesday morning, where I've got 2 guests in on Wednesday actually, a lady called Victoria and a local chef from Henley, so do tune in. And back on Thursday, but Lizzie is up next, so stay with her for her fabulous show. And to play you out today, chosen by Denise, as well as the other fabulous music that she has requested today. We've got Eva Cassidy and True Colours. Have a wonderful day.